Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Tamaras, and today we are going to have our next webinar on the following IELTS writing task 2 questions. And in this webinar, we are going to look at writing advantages and disadvantages essays. Before we get started, please let me know if everyone can hear me, okay? If you have any issues with like a connection, you can just refresh your browser to hear me better, okay? And also during the session, try to be engaged while answering the questions. If there would be any questions during the webinar, you can write, and during the sessions we answer, or later we will answer after the session via the platforms. Okay? Hello? Great. Okay. Now, today we are going to learn several points of these essay categories about advantages and disadvantages. First of all, we are going to look at how to write an effective and well-structured introduction. Okay? Likewise, in order to showcase a grammatical range in your essay, we will try to look at the use of complex structures with different conjunctions as well as subordinate clauses. Likewise, we will be looking at how to write the main body paragraphs and how to develop ideas. And hence, it brings us to the next point about generating ideas, or in other words, brainstorming ideas. After which, we will be looking at how to wrap up by crafting a well-structured and effective conclusion. All right, now let's get started our session then. So typically, the advantages and disadvantages questions may look like this. This is kind of discussion essay. So where you would have a topic and then a question to which you have to answer throughout your essay. You can see it has the topic being introduced. The development of tourism contributed to English becoming the most prominent language in the world. Some people think this will lead to English becoming the only language to be spoken globally. What are the advantages and disadvantages of having one language in the world? So we step by step look at this question in this session now, and then analyze each aspect. All right. So before we get started doing that, let's try to do some true and false activity together. So you can see it now. Here we go. To your mind, which statements are given are true about advantages and disadvantages essay? All right. The first one, it says, you should state your opinion in the introduction. Shouldn't you? Should you state your opinion in the introduction, in the essay question that we have just dealt with? Okay. Right. The first one, that is no. Some of you, I saw that already writing no. So yes, in the question that we have just looked at, you don't have to write, yeah, you don't have to state your opinion since the question doesn't ask for opinion. And you should cover both sides. Yes, because it asks you about both advantages and disadvantages. Then it is true. You should outline more advantages than disadvantages. Okay, what do you think about this statement? Is it true or false? Mhm. Okay, right. The third statement again, this is false because you have to strike a balance while looking at the advantages and disadvantages, since this question doesn't ask you whether there are more pluses than minuses. Okay, you have to restate positive and negative points in the conclusion. Is that true or false? All right. Yes. And number four is again that's true. Yes, we have to restate the main points on both like parts, both sides, positive and negative points should be restated, and they shouldn't be anything new. All right. Okay. Now let's try to look at an overall structure for this type of essay. The general structure of the advantages and disadvantages essays usually includes an introduction, supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Okay? The supporting paragraphs each, like it can be two, but even more than that, but normally two supporting paragraphs would be perfect, each dealing with either the advantages or the disadvantages of the topic that you are discussing. All right. After deciding the overall structure of the essay, I suppose the other important aspect of writing an essay would be managing your time for the essay questions. And normally, students uh, deal with difficulty while planning or writing itself or reviewing. Some of them even may not have time for reviewing. Hence, usually you can spend a maximum of 10 minutes on planning and around 25 minutes would be perfect for writing. Okay. And of course, leave some time, at least 5 minutes, for proofreading and at least checking or reviewing some common and typical grammatical mistakes, as well as some lexical errors that you have. So by reviewing, you have at least some chances to improve your writing. All right. How you should spend the first 10 minutes. Of course, you should deal with reading and understanding the question. So try to understand all the aspects of the question in order to address all aspects of the task, which helps you to boost your score for task response. After that, think of a specific lexical items, I mean vocabulary, that you are going to use throughout your essay. Of course, generating ideas would be the next step, which helps you to better structure your main body paragraphs. And likewise, determine the structure of your overall supporting paragraphs. So these are the main four, let's say, points that you have to cover throughout the 10 minutes. Okay, now let's look at the each of their points in more meticulous manner, detailedly analyze them. So understanding the essay question. So if you remember the first question that we have started at the beginning, so with English being a global language. Now see overall instructions in this typical IELTS writing task to question, it starts with instructing you how much time you should spend on this task, as well as it ends with two more instructions. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience, and write at least 250 words. These are the instructions that you have to follow while writing the essay. So each of your points should be supported and justified with relevant examples or arguments. So let's read the topic here. The development of tourism contributed to English becoming the most prominent language in the world. Some people think this will lead to English becoming the only language to be spoken globally. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages of having one language in the world? Well, dealing with 3 points like defining what is the general topic, is there any issue or phenomenon that you are dealing with, and what is the task? By answering each of these questions, you can better structure your essay. Okay, you'll cover all aspects of the topic. So, all right, any ideas? Like, what is the general topic of this essay question? So you can write your ideas in a chat box. The general topic and what is an issue or a phenomenon and what is the task. Okay, a few more seconds left. All right. So by highlighting the keywords from the question, yeah, the task, you can identify what is the general topic and the issues or the task. All right. Now look at the so how we can structure further. Right, everyone. So good. The general topic is the prominence of English. So most of you have already mentioned about that. The prevailing of English in international communication. That's kind of English becoming the most prominent. Hence, the prominence of English. An issue that people think that English becoming the only language to be spoken globally. English is the only language. And the tasks are to look at both the pros and cons of having a single language globally. All right, now let's try to look at how to write an introduction for such an IELTS writing task two questions. So normally, any type of like writing task two question may consist of especially three components, like sentences. So that could be a rather general background sentence where you introduce the topic, the general topic. And of course, you detailly introduce background sentence by introducing the issue or the phenomenon that you're going to look at. And of course, after that, you are going to write an outline sentence. Well, normally, outline sentence will help you to, yes, to showcase the aim of the essay. So what you're going to write about. So it will be kind of a roadmap of your essay. All right. So as we've just decided the topic and detailed background and this all aspects, outline sentence, let's look at how that may look like in this type of the questions. So a typical example of the introduction may look like this. Here we go. First of all, we deal with paraphrasing Oh, the first two sentences. We have simply to paraphrase that by showcasing different grammatical structure or using different words as synonyms. So you can see the introduction, how it's being paraphrased, while the blossoming of tourism has undeniably elevated English to a paramount status in global communication. There is a growing debate about its potential to become the single language spoken universally. This essay will explore the merits and challenges of a world unified by a single language. Okay, ideally, this introduction, which is written, simply paraphrases and keeps the idea the same, even though most of the vocabulary has been paraphrased or substituted by their synonyms. And by doing that, you showcase your language aptitude and also different structures. For example, in the previous one, we've got kind of simple sentences, and in this introduction, we see a complex by the use of conjunction while. So development of tourism has become a blossoming of tourism. So English becoming the most prominent, elevated English to a paramount status in global communication. Spoken globally, so it has become spoken universally. Okay, so of course, at the end, instead of advantages and disadvantages, we've got merits and challenges in the outline statement. All right. Now let's try to look at another example of these advantages and disadvantages essay. So here you can see the essay question number 2. Machines are taking over more and more jobs previously done by humans. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your opinion. All right. What are the topics in this essay? What is the topic? And are there any kind of phenomenon issues? Please write the topic. Okay. A few more seconds and then we'll try to check. So right. All right. Now let's look at this aspect then. And what is the task? So you've defined the topic, the issue, and what is the task? All right, good. Now look at this one. Generally, the topic, right, that was about machines, or we can say robotization, automatization, and a job market. Yes. And of course, issues that machines are taking over more and more jobs previously done by humans. So machines are substituting or an increased replacement of humans by machines. That was a very good idea offered by some of you. And finally, so the pros and cons of the topic should be discussed, like this trend. If you also paid attention to the question, it says, give your opinion. So that is also crucial that you have provided further, either an introduction or as a separate paragraph, you provided your opinion as well about this topic. So this would be not only discussion, but also the question asks after discussing both sides to give your opinion. You can do it either in conclusion or yes, both in conclusion and you add some extra supporting paragraph for that. But we will discuss about that further. Now, here we go to do a task. Your task could be to put in the right order this introduction, following the steps that we've discussed earlier. The general statement or background sentence and detailed background sentence, and what is the outline sentence. So you have a few seconds. Please write your answers in a chat box. All right. Okay, good. Yes, guys, well done. So you can see here, yeah, the answers, yeah, C and A and B. Let's check your answers. First one is C, a general, background statement introducing the topic. And then the kind of thesis, or let's say issue being introduced, and the task. So it looks like this. As technological advancements propel societies forward, there is an increasing shift from human-driven tasks to machine-led operations. While this evolution offers numerous benefits, it's not without its drawbacks. This essay will delve into the merits and challenges posed by machines replacing human jobs. Okay. Right, let's move to next point now. You probably paid attention to the use of complex structures in the introduction while paraphrasing the question. So while this evolution offers numerous benefits, it's not without its drawbacks. This is a subordinate clause of concession with a conjunction while. So there are the alternatives that you can use sometimes to showcase a variety by replacing it with although or despite. Although it's another conjunction, though despite is a preposition. Hence, these two have different sentence structures so that you have to know. For example, although this technological evolution offers numerous benefits, it also comes with its share of drawbacks. So after although we have a clause, which is subject plus a verb. But despite normally follows the, first of all, noun or noun phrase, or it can be an ing in like a gerund form, despite the numerous benefits this technological evolution brings. There are undeniable drawbacks that accompany it. So please remember the grammatical features of this let's say structures. So of course, the use of them would definitely help you to boost your score for your grammatical range. All right. So let's again review what are the main tips for a strong introduction. So normally, to write an effective and well-structured introduction, try to keep your introduction short and relevant to the topic, to the point. Okay? So don't make it too wordy and redundant. Provide three main aspects that we've so far discussed. Present a topic. If there are any views or issues, and restate that, and the overall outline statement. That's a kind of roadmap to your essay. So, of course, by rewording, so paraphrasing the question, so in your own words, remember, you change the word forms or change the structure, but the idea should remain the same. This is about paraphrasing. You showcase your skills. Of course, sometimes memorized or overused phrases should be avoided. So this essay will discuss the advantages and disadvantages. So this is somehow a memorized and overused phrases. Try to, of course, vary that. Okay. And like using comparing words, including words that highlight differences or similarities. This is also a good idea. Like we did while, although, despite. These are the conjunctions that make it complex, or some other like vocabulary to showcase a range of lexical resource. So this will help you to write a strong and effective introduction. All right, now let's move to the next aspect of our today's session. It's how to brainstorm ideas. Normally, most of the takers have a problem with coming up with the right idea and further elaborating that. How we can do that? So if the question was something like this that we earlier discussed, the development of tourism contributed to English becoming the most prominent language in the world. Some people think this will lead to English becoming the only language to be spoken globally. So think, what are the pros and cons of the only one language being used universally? Okay, you will be looking at this idea. So think simply, do not overcomplicate your thoughts. Hence, it would be really difficult further to develop that idea. So, for example, look at this one. Brainstorming ideas. Which of the following is an advantage of having English as the only global language due to the rise of tourism? You can write your options in a chat box out of the given four options. Okay, yes. It facilitates easier international negotiations and diplomacy. And further, you have to elaborate and develop this idea. Okay? So, reason for that choice. When everyone speaks a common language, it becomes easier to negotiate, conduct business, and hold diplomatic talks without the need for interpreters, which can streamline processes and reduce the risk of misunderstanding. Well, make sure that there is a smooth flow of your ideas. You do this idea smoothly. All right. Now let's try to look at one more idea here. Which examples best illustrates the advantage of having English as a only global language for international negotiations? So, try to keep it relevant to your reasons or the main idea that you, yes, introduce, you present in your supporting paragraph. The example should usually further develop it. All right, a few more seconds, and then we can check it. Okay, now look at this one. Yes, that's how two diplomats from different countries can discuss peace treaties without needing an interpreter. So this example directly ties to the advantage of easier international negotiations and diplomacy, right? So diplomats discussing peace treaties is a prime example of a situation where communication clarity is crucial and having a common language can be of immense benefit. Good. Okay. Now let's try to look at the disadvantage of having English as a sole global language. Please write your answers in the chat box. And if that's possible, you can also write your reasoning for that as well as examples, trying to be engaged in this activity. Right. That is a loss of cultural identity. Okay. This is a disadvantage. Right. Okay. Now, reasoning you can see here, when everyone speaks the same language, it's easier to lose distinctions between different cultures, which are often deeply tied to language. Hence, in this aspect, it can be disadvantageous. Good. Now let's look at the example that we can provide. Which of the following is an example of the loss of cultural identity due to the decline of native languages? Okay. Right. Right. Now let's look at this one. Yeah. That is a case of Native American tribes. Yes, Indians. Native American tribes losing their languages and with them traditional stories and practices. So the reason for that, as tribes lose their native languages, they also lose the oral traditions, stories, and cultural practices associated with that language. So normally, any oral heritage can be preserved through the language, right? Because it is not a material that could be preserved. Oral traditions are normally passed down through the language from one generation to the next. And that would be a good illustration of the uh, like uh, loss of culture or cultural identity. All right, now let's try to look at the paragraph for disadvantage. Can you just put in the right order this paragraph? Okay, you have a few minutes. You can write your answers in the chat box. And remember that each supporting paragraph normally starts with a topic statement, right? A topic sentence. So a topic sentence normally presents the general idea of a paragraph. And further, you can add some um, arguments to further develop that topic sentence. Explanation and examples. So at the end, you can also provide an effect or concluding sentence of that paragraph. Okay. All right. A few more seconds left. Please write your answers, and then we can start checking that. Right. Now let's check it. Okay. Here, please see it's kind of a topic sentence. On the flip side, you can also say here, however, on the other hand, yes, various linking words that you can use here. So the use of such kind of linkers would ensure a smooth flow from one paragraph to the contrasting, yes, paragraph. There, there are evident disadvantages to the adoption of a single global language. Evident disadvantages. So it's a good collocation to showcase in your essay. After that, you can see, so the first explanation for the minus of having one single language. So one global language. All right. One primary concern is the potential loss of diverse languages and consequently their rich cultural heritages. And consequently, their rich cultural heritages, this sentence further elaborates, further develop the topic. For instance, unique celebrations like Spain's Tomato Festival or traditional Japanese theater performances are deeply connected to their native languages, and their essence might be diluted without those linguistic roots. Additionally, global tourism might see a decline. This is another cons of having a single language. If every country shared a common language and similar traditions, the allure of experiencing something distinct could diminish. This is second conditional. This would be a concern of regions that rely heavily on tourism for their economic well-being. And this is the consequence of this trend. You can see that from the start till the end in this paragraph, we do see a variety of sentence structures. We see the use of modal verbs to avoid generalization. All right, here you can see the whole paragraph, which is well structured. And normally pay attention to the use of transition words and also to vary your sentence structures. Right. Okay. Now let's move to the next paragraph. This is our conclusion. And in conclusion, as you remember, so far we've discussed that it is a part where you simply restate both sides. Yes, the pros and cons, restating, and always avoid any surprising conclusion. That means you shouldn't introduce anything new. So it may contain normally two sentences or two aspects. First, you have to restate the main points, that is, advantages and disadvantages. And also, you can provide predictions or recommendations in the discussion advantages and disadvantages essay. Remember that. You normally should start with the appropriate linking words, like in conclusion, the adoption of a single global language offers clear advantages, such as enhanced mutual understanding and economic opportunities. And we've got an appropriate linker. However, it also poses significant risks, including the potential erosion of rich cultural heritages and a decline in the diversity-driven attraction of global tourism. And if you can add a prediction or recommendation statement, how these changes play out will determine the impact of this language shift in the future. And this is kind of a prediction. So speculation about the topic. Okay? So now you can see the whole essay. Please look at the use of topic sentences and the overall structure. You can see that the introduction and conclusion paragraphs are the shortest in the whole essay. Hence, you have to mainly focus on writing the body paragraphs. So maintain a clear, let's say, presenting idea and further developing it with the right explanation and examples. Providing an example will help you to effectively further develop your ideas. And this would help you to boost your score, not only as a kind of a task response, but also it improves the coherence and cohesion. All right. You can quickly read the essay, and then we can move to the next part. Especially pay attention to the first body paragraph. Yes. One major benefit of adopting a single global language is the profound enhancement of mutual understanding among nations. So this is a topic sentence. Imagine a scenario where diplomats from different countries convene for a crucial summit. With a shared language, there is a drastic reduction in misunderstandings, allowing for more effective collaborations and streamlined exchanges of innovative ideas. Furthermore, a global language stands as a linchpin for economic advancement. For instance, consider business trying to penetrate international markets. So you can see semicolon is being used. Whenever you use semicolon in your essay, you should avoid using any conjunctions, okay, to connect your ideas. Without the hurdle of language barriers, comma, they can negotiate deals more efficiently, leading to faster trade agreements. And this is the last sentence is the effect. These ease in commerce and trade can significantly boost economic ties between nations, potentially ushering in an era of heightened global economic prosperity. Right. Hence, you can understand that to write pros and cons essays normally would be easier if you try to approach the question from certain perspectives. For example, from, let's say, economic perspective or political. Yeah, so rather this social or individual perspectives would help you better cover the topic and further develop it. All right, now let's move on to the next part to do some vocabulary tasks. So the words normally come from these essays that we've read so far. Here you go. Please try to write the synonym of the words which are underlined in the sentence. The use of English worldwide is growing. How you can change this word? How you can paraphrase that with the given options? Okay. All right. Okay, the first one is adoption. Right, A. What about the second one? The benefits of a global language are clear to many. Mhm. Okay. Now, please check again your answers here. Yep. So with the example there, you can see the use of like the adoption of English well is growing. So adoption refers here to act of accepting or starting to use something new. In our context, it describes growing use of the acceptance of English, the global, yes, language. For instance, you can see the adoption of smartphones has increased dramatically over the past decade. So clear is evident, all right? Not unfold, not other reduce or chance. So, which is easily seen, obvious in our context is that the benefits are clear and obvious. Hence, it was evident from her smile that she was pleased with the results. She was happy with the results. Cultural heritages. So that's instead of traditions, you can sometimes use that. It is not heritage sites because sites is about places, native crafts, it can be part of cultural heritage, but tradition covers all this one. Festival calendars also, it can be kind of particular example, but not about cultural heritages. Generally, we could substitute that. Traditions and cultural heritage or heritages could be the best synonyms here. Right. Okay, UNESCO aims to protect, yes, to protect the world's cultural heritages and landmarks. All right. Now, can you try this examples as well? There is a risk of loss of local languages. How we can paraphrase the word loss out of the given options? Diminish, allure, erosion, prospect. Okay. Now, in a few seconds, we can start checking that. So Spanish is another popular language in many countries. All right. Okay. The number of local dialects may reduce if one global language is promoted. Okay, here we go to check it. Right. So erosion here is being the correct answer, number fourth, loss and erosion, because it is being used in a figurative sense. Yes, the gradual reduction or weakening of something. So gradual loss or reduction in the number of, or influence of local languages. There has been an erosion of traditional values in some societies due to globalization. So diminish can be, but erosion is the most appropriate one here. And then in number five, well, linguistic medium could be the best here because dialect, it is not about language. It can be about a local variation of a language. Okay. So this is why like linguistic medium refers to the language used for communication here. English has become the primary linguistic medium for many international businesses. All right. And finally, reduce. So it has the same thing as, of course, diminish. All right. So it's something which become less or a reduction number of local dialects. A fall, we can also say. The influence of the empire began to diminish after several defeats. All right. Now let's try the last three more examples. The words, and then we can move to another aspect of our today's talk. The world's cultures create a beautiful mix. How this can be, yes, we can say paraphrased. Adoption, tapestry, evident, or language change. All right. Tapestry. Right. tapestry. The first one, yeah. The world's cultures create a beautiful tapestry. Hmm. Deciding on a global language is a big problem. Big problem. That can we say confusing or a difficult problem? Conundrum. Yes, conundrum. Right. And finally, there is a chance that more countries might adopt Mandarin in the future. Prospect. All right, now you can see examples here again. Tapestry. It normally refers to a complex or rich picture or pattern. Yes, it's normally used metaphorically to describe a mix of different things. So different colors in an like handmade crafts. Here it is about the blend of world cultures. So tapestry. The city's vibrant tapestry of cultures makes it a fascinating place to live. See an example here. Or conundrum. That means a confusing problem, a difficult question, okay, which is really hard to resolve. The idea of deciding on a global language is presented as a challenging issue. Hence, see an example also. The mystery of the missing jewels became a real conundrum for the detectives. Conundrum. And prospect. It's normally about the future, chances, opportunities, refers possibility or likelihood of future event. Sentence discusses that the potential future adoption of Mandarin by more countries. It's something which is highly likely to happen. Okay, the prospect of moving to a new city both excited and worried her. All right, now let's move to the next aspect of our today's talk. So far we have discussed the discussion, yeah, essay, so advantages and disadvantages discussion essay. Now we will move to the part where you also discuss the pros and cons and give your opinion. You will evaluate whether there are more advantages or disadvantages. Normally, in this type of essay, you would have a word like outweigh, and they usually also call it outweigh essay. Okay? See an example question here. As more and more information is available online, the role of textbooks has become obsolete. Therefore, universities should replace traditional books with digital materials. Do the advantages of this situation outweigh the disadvantages? So this question asks your opinion. Therefore, when you write the essay, remember that your opinion is crucial to be stated in this type of essay. Okay? It means, do you think there are more pluses of this situation or of this trend than the disadvantages? Okay. Before we get into the essay, I mean, analyzing this question, let's do some true and false tasks. Well, which statements are true about advantages and disadvantages outweigh essays? You should state your opinion in the introduction. So, is it true or false? If it is true, why it is true? If it is false, why it is false? Okay, now let's check it. You should state your opinion in the introduction if it is advantages and disadvantages outweigh question. That is true because the question asks, yes, true. Um, yes, it asks you, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? You have to restate yes. It is true. Okay? Don't confuse this essay question with discuss the advantages and disadvantages of the topic. So when it starts with discuss or what are the advantages and disadvantages, in that sense, the question asks you simply to discuss without your opinion. But whenever it starts, so do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, or are there more pluses than minuses? Or give your opinion. Hence, in these cases, you are to provide your opinion. Remember that. So, you should cover both sides. Yes. Regardless that when it asks you, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, you have to look at both aspects and then evaluate which one is more, the pluses or minuses. You should outline more advantages than disadvantages. Yes. In this type of essay, you should write, for example, if you write 2 pluses, write 1 minuses. But it normally depends on which position you think is stronger. If you think that, no, there are more disadvantages, then you have to write more disadvantages. If it's vice versa, write more advantages than disadvantages. For example, 3 advantages and 2 disadvantages, or 2 advantages and 1 disadvantage. Okay, so this is should be maintained throughout your essay. And finally, you have to restate your opinion. That is again true. Okay, at the end, you have to restate your overall idea by restating which one is more, the pluses or minuses. And of course, the main points of your opinion. Okay, now let's try to look at an overall structure. So it also contains, like a previous essay, 4-paragraph essay. So you'll introduce the topic. But in this topic, remember that your main task is to prove whether there are more advantages of the issue than the disadvantages. Okay? And in second body paragraph, you're going to start with a weaker side. Using a proper linking device, you can talk about 1 or 2, for example, disadvantages or advantages. It's up to you to decide which one is weaker. Okay? And the second supporting paragraph, you should devote to a stronger side. So that would be 2 or 3 advantages or disadvantages. Remember that. And of course, you have to wrap up your essay with a conclusion where you simply restate why there are more advantages than disadvantages or vice versa. And of course, you can add some a sentence like a predictions or recommendation. Let's just try to look at each steps. So, as I say, like a brainstorming idea, it's crucial in this type of essay. So far, we've looked at this as essay question. For example, as more and more information is available online, the role of textbooks has become obsolete. Therefore, universities should replace traditional books with digital materials. Do the advantages of this situation outweigh the disadvantages? Now, make sure that you have understood all the key aspects of the question before you randomly start writing. Let's go to do some tasks here. So please write your answers in a chat box. Which of the following might be a disadvantage of using only digital materials in universities? Okay. Right. Okay. From prolonged screen exposure, yeah, there would be eye strain. A major advantage of digital resources over traditional textbooks is so tactile experience of reading or the ability to be updated in real time, feeling nostalgia, the weight and space they occupy. So you can write your answers, please. And one potential environmental benefit of shifting to digital resources is more energy consumption, increased screen production, or decreased paper usage and deforestation, and increased electronic waste. Right. Now check it. Okay, here you can see first one, it's about, yep, eye strain. So like excessive use of let's say digital materials may impair our vision, the ability to be updated in real time. Yes, and the final decrease paper usage and deforestation. So they would be um, cut down on a, let's say, paper consumption. So hence that would be environmentally friendly. Okay, now let's move to the next part. So I feel that would greatly benefit from real-time updates in study material. So, and also say, how might a student benefit in terms of studying, let's say, logistics when using ebooks? All right. Okay. Good. Yeah, you can check your answers, right? So yes. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. So there was a change in the options, but overall your options are right. Yeah. So modern medicine would greatly benefit from real-time updates. That's right. And of course, the other one, it's kind of they can carry multiple books on one device, which is why they are, yes, more convenient. All right. Okay. Now let's try to look at how to write an introduction. So like a previous one, firstly, you have to start with paraphrasing the first and the second sentence in your, let's say, essay, let's say, the question rubrics. So you should restate it in your own words, that we call paraphrasing, and um, and then answer to the question. So with the rise of online resources, the relevance of traditional books appears to diminish. So become obsolete. Obsolete here means outdated, something which is already old. Therefore, we've got like consequently as a synonym for that one. Many advocate for universities to transition from traditional textbooks to electronic resources. Here we can see a good paraphrases. Many advocate for universities, so to transition from conventional, so that's traditional books, conventional textbooks, to electronic resources, digital materials. While it's, again, making it a complex sentence here, while there are both pros and cons to this shift. So paraphrasing the words like advantages and disadvantages again. This essay will argue that the advantages significantly outweigh the disadvantages. Before you take a position, whether there are more advantages or disadvantages, you have to generate ideas and be ready that you can uh, further develop that position. Okay? So in this essay, using this essay will argue also it's possible to give it like in your opinion, while they are both pros and cons to this shift, I believe or it seems to me that the advantages significantly outweigh the disadvantages. This is also possible. But to make it more academic and more formal, you can simply use the word this essay will argue. It sounds more academic. Okay, now let's look at some aspects that we've so far discussed. The words which are underlined, pay attention, how they have been paraphrased. Okay, now let's move to the next paragraph. How to write the supporting paragraphs. Yes, we can start with the first paragraph about the disadvantages. Since in introduction we said there are more advantages than disadvantages. We start with a weaker position. One primary concern of moving entirely towards digital resources is the potential strain it places on students' eyes and mental health. Physical textbooks offer a respite from screen exposure. Given the vast amount of time students already spend on computers for research, assignments, and in many cases, online lectures, adding digital textbooks could exacerbate the issue. Prolonged screen time can lead to digital eye strain, symptoms of which include dry eyes, blurred vision, and headaches. Beyond the physical implications, relying solely on digital materials might also contribute to feelings of detachment and isolation. Among students, missing the tactile experience of flipping through pages, making notes, and the simple joy of holding a book. So one or two disadvantages being discussed in this paragraph. Please pay attention to the use of linkers, chunks of language throughout the essay, and how they are using paraphrasing. Now, look at the second paragraph. Here, your task would be to fill the gaps, okay? You should fill the gaps in this supporting paragraph. So now I share the range of the words you can use there. Okay, so here we go. You can use the appropriate words from the table. To make it the well-structured paragraph. Use appropriate vocabulary from the table. Okay. On the other hand, the of shifting to digital resources are undeniable. Okay. Yes, the advantages of shifting to digital resources are undeniable. Right. And this would serve as a topic sentence. And make sure that the use of appropriate linker, like on the other hand, conversely, despite the disadvantage or disadvantages above, you can also use however. Right. Okay. Ebooks and online journals can be downloaded from anywhere and at any time. Now let's see. So, right, that is accessed. Yes, not downloaded here. We can access from anywhere and at any time. First and foremost, ebooks and online journals can be accessed from anywhere and at any time, offering students a more challenging, arduous, or flexible arduous, challenging, or flexible. So challenging means difficult, likewise arduous. Arduous also means difficult something or challenging. So these two options are not the correct answer. So it would be flexible. All right. And efficient study experience. Unlike traditional books, which can become outdated, digital materials can be repaired, outdated, or transformed. Right, everyone, this is updated. Yes, outdate and update, these antonyms. Updated in real time, ensuring that the students always have access to the most current information. Furthermore, with the integration of, all right, multimedia, recreational, or basic, okay, right. So this is multimedia tools, the integration of multimedia tools. So that's kind of a known phrase. Yes, it makes our tone much more academic and formal, such as highlighters, note-taking apps. Students can engage in a more interactive and study session. Generic, personalized, or identical. Identical. All right. Okay, that's right. This is kind of personalized. Yes, students can engage in a more interactive and personalized study session. The reduced need for physical space and the subsequent decrease in infrastructure. So yeah, we've got the word. Number 7 already is given here, infrastructure. So yes, number 7, decrease in infrastructure. Okay, can also result in a significant cost savings for educational institutions. Finally, from an environmental perspective, a shift to digital reduces the demand for paper, thereby playing a role in forest cultivation construction, or conservation? Yes. Okay, this is right. So we can see here about the conservation. All right, conservation and sustainability. Okay, now if you paid attention to this paragraph, we've got several useful linkers. On the other hand, it's a smooth shift from one paragraph on one point to contrasting. So, on the other hand, first and foremost, to start your argument explanation, the first idea, unlike providing a contrast to traditional books with their digital counterparts, furthermore, in addition to that, right, to the first idea, and of course, finally, and we've got from an environmental perspective. Well, to approach the question from different perspectives would definitely help you to boost your score for task response because you showcase like a wide, let's say, range of ideas from different perspectives you are approaching the question. And likewise, you showcase a wider range of topic-specific vocabulary. Okay, now let's move to the next part, how to write a conclusion in outweigh essay and how it is different from that of discussion essay. Well, while writing a conclusion in this type of essay, you should remember that you start first of all by saying that whether there are more advantages or disadvantages, and say what are the advantages and disadvantages. Of course, your prediction. Please now put these sentences given there in a logical order to form a paragraph, a conclusion paragraph. Okay, right. Okay, here we go then to look at this part as well. First, we've got in conclusion, while the shift from traditional textbooks to digital materials does present certain challenges, the myriad of advantages they offer cannot be overlooked. So here we've got does present, it's kind of emphasizing emphatic structure. And while you've got a complex structure using the subordinate clause of concession. And then we've got B, the real-time update capability, eco-friendliness, and sheer convenience of digital resources present a compelling case for universities to consider this transition. And again, this is a thesis that you so far provided your answer. So what are the pluses? However, it's essential to ensure that there are measures in place to mitigate potential health concerns, perhaps by educating students about proper screen usage or promoting regular breaks from screen exposure. That's a kind of recommendation that at the end, so you can somehow uh, end up your essay with. All the time, make sure that you use the proper linking words and you avoid repeating the same words and structure in conclusion. Try to vary it. Okay. So, thus, overall, it may look like this. So, conclusion. In conclusion, you should restate whether there are more pluses or minuses. That would be your opinion, restating that, and also the main points after which you can provide the recommendation or prediction about the topic. Okay, now let's look at the essay overall. So we can see here, with the rise of online resources, the relevance of traditional textbooks appears to diminish. Consequently, many advocate for universities to transition from conventional textbooks to electronic resources. While there are both pros and cons to this shift, this essay will argue that the advantages significantly outweigh the disadvantages. So these kind of outlines, so this is kind of answer to the question, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Make sure that you have a clear answer in introduction without getting into details. You should simply answer the question. One primary concern of moving entirely towards digital resources is the potential strain it places on students' eyes and mental health. This is a topic sentence. Of course, in your paragraphs, whether it's a disadvantages and disadvantages essay or any other types of essays, make sure that you provide a clear topic sentence. And then explanation and examples, which would help you effectively develop your ideas. So physical textbooks offer a respite from screen exposure, given the vast amount of time students already spend on computers for research, assignments, and in many cases, online lectures. Adding digital textbooks could exacerbate this issue. Well, adding digital textbook could exacerbate this issue. This is further developing this idea as a result. Prolonged screen time can lead to digital eye strain, symptoms of which include dry eyes, blurred vision, and headaches. So, beyond the physical implications, relying solely on digital materials might also contribute to feelings of detachment and isolation among students, missing the tactile experience of flipping through pages, making notes, and the simple joy of holding a book. So, make sure that every topic, like a sentence that you introduce or present, is being further developed. However, using a proper linker, you can also say here, on the other hand, as we've so far discussed, despite these disadvantages, the benefits of adopting digital materials in universities are manifold. Okay? And using a proper link, as so far we've discussed that. Of course, your conclusion should again restate your main ideas and your answer to the question. If you can, provide a recommendation or prediction. And never confuse discussion advantages and disadvantages with outweigh essay. In outweigh essay, you have to give your opinion. Unlike the discussion essay, where you simply discuss both sides, striking a balance in your arguments that you provide. Okay, so thank you so much for your participants today. And here we are going to wrap up our today's webinar. See you next time. Bye-bye.